stepped into the past. But also there was something about that struck me as being like my father's childhood. I mean, my father grew up in the same little hamlet in South Carolina that I grew up in, the same house where all those 17 brothers and sisters, my aunts and uncles, grew up in this house. But there was something about the ambiente of the sounds in the morning, of the people going about there getting ready for the day that reminded me of something that might have been what my father would have experienced as a kid in the early part of the 20th century. He was born in 1902, I believe. So he didn't have television, he didn't have radio, he didn't have electricity, he didn't have a car, but he had a horse and he had a buggy and so forth. And then I would hear outside our door on the cobblestone streets, outside our door in Mexico, in San Miguel de Allende, I would hear the people going to market in their horse-drawn vehicles or trooping along. I mean, it was something nostalgic that like took me back into another era that was not my era, but it was embedded. It was somehow embedded into my childhood's memories of hearing the old folks on the front porch rocking at night, trying to get a breath of cool air, talking about, you know, life as it used to be, like the good old days, you know, and we're talking like 1945 or 46, and I'm slowing down a little bit because I'm doing this thing that requires a little thought. And then we went to Oaxaca, and then we found this lovely place to live and lovely lady who we got to know well as our friend and our helper there. She provided for us a kind of a wonderful nurturing quality that was not unlike the nurture that I had felt as a child of people in my childhood.
So you kind of were surprised by how homey it felt. It sounds like kind of just felt really
how
home.
Connected I felt to this strange place where I didn't even know the language, you know. So
well, what I know of Oaxaca is that it's just a really beautiful, colorful place. And the folk art is really
it's one of the things that we liked about Oaxaca, maybe more than other places in Mexico, is that it's a very Indian state. I mean, there are a lot of indigenous people there, and they do wonderful crafts, and we were interested in that. Wait, now I'm getting lost here. Busy talking about myself. I forgot to think about you.
You probably don't talk about yourself very much while you're painting.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I do. It depends on who's there, who's sitting there. I've had some people who sit very quietly and never let me know what they're thinking, and then other people who like opening up, and then I find myself opening up to them, you know, that kind of thing.
Do some people have questions kind of about what the rules are to
what
being
rules?
Drawn? Do they feel
there
like
are no rules.
Do they feel like there might be
What
rules?
is this rule stuff?
Because I think the first time I ever sat for an artist, I wondered, is there something I can do right or wrong to help them make a better drawing?
You know, I mean, I think there are people who are natural models because they like taking a pose, or they turn their heads this way or that, but and other people who sit very stiffly, and sometimes that's fine too. So, you know, I don't know. But there are no rules. Just like there are no rules about how this thing should be. It should be good. It should be interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be alive somehow. Now maybe we should take stock of this drawing, and I don't know that that's so good. Ooh. Well, let's see. Maybe I can fix that. Yeah, that's better. I often talk to myself, but I mean, I don't. used to say to my classes, to my students, you know, you don't have to talk out loud, but you really should talk to yourself as you're drawing, because you say, oops, that's good. Oh, that's not so good. Oh, this should move over here. How about bigger here? How about a little littler there? Why don't I just erase the whole thing, you know, or some such business that shows that they're really into, you know, I mean, I think it's good to stay into the drawing, into the process.
So I'm just imagining your classroom and these students
you can't
trying to embrace talking to themselves in a group full of other people who are trying to embrace talking to themselves while they draw.
I just say to you that my classes were magic.
Yeah, they sound great.
No, I don't know that they were magic, but they were magic for me. I mean, I love teaching, and I still enjoy that kind of occasional rapport that I have with people looking at work and talking about it and whatever. I do have a sort of interesting story that I'm going to share with you. I went to a party of new graduate students at the beginning of the semester, and you know, I don't teach anymore, so I don't have any I don't have any students, and I don't have new students, but I always like to meet these people. And one guy I met said, "Are you Joe Patrick? I'm supposed to look you up when I come to town." And I said, "Oh, why?" He said, "Because my teacher, my undergraduate teacher, said to look you up." And I said, "Well, who's that?" And he told me who it was, and he was one of my former students. And then 3 minutes later, another guy said, "Oh, I worked with one of your former students." And so these guys I think of as my grandchildren. And recently we've been drawing together, the three of us. And that's been so much fun to have this intergenerational thing. And so one of them came up with the idea that we should have a show. We should have this generational show of Joe and his drawings of us, and then Joe and his drawings of our teachers. And then we'll include in the show the teachers, who are the middle generation, and then the work of the kids, the young guys, you know. Yeah. So I think we're going to try to work on that. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but.
Do you think you'll be able to sort of see the genesis of the teachers do that?
No, I don't think that's even the point of it. I think the point of it is just a nice idea about talking about nurturing and friendship and enthusiasm that gets passed on from person to person and fed back from the younger people to the older people. I think teaching is they don't call that word rejuvenation for nothing, because it's about juveniles bringing to older people regeneration of ideas, and I think that's a wonderful thing that happens with teachers. Happens for teachers, if they let it happen. I don't know that all teachers do, but.
So are you still always learning with your art?
I don't know. I don't know if I've learned a thing this afternoon. What do you think? I don't know. I've learned that this could be a lot more daring, you know. Some things in this drawing seem to me to be kind of prosaic, and other things kind of flowing, and I don't know. I have a friend who said that, well, your drawings, I love this thought or idea, he said, your drawings are like breathing. It says you don't even think about them, you just breathe them. And it's not true that I don't think about them, but I don't worry about them. I just let it happen. And let's see, does that look like Katie? Not really. That looks like Katie's sister.
Joe, thank you for letting me come into your studio and pick your brain a little bit.
Hey, it's my pleasure, as long as I can draw you.
It's a fair trade.
Yeah, well, it's been fun. I usually do the thanking, so I thank you.
Community voice. Nah, I always say the kids,